This land is one that co-evolved with fire. It needs fire to be healthy.
We try to heal the land and we want to do it while healing people. I feel most free when I'm up here, when I'm tending to the land. My experience here has been that if we are in right relation with the land and we help heal the land will meet us halfway. If you are willing to put in some of the work, the land just rewards us with everything else.
Shelterwood is a Black and Indigenous-led 900-acre forest and community center actively trying to model long-term climate resiliency and ecological and community healing. We talk about restoration not as going back to what was here prior to colonization, but really about restoring the relationships between people and place, and those relationships that worked to keep our ecosystems healthy
and thriving over time.
The Kashia were the stewards of this mountain range for about 10,000 years prior to colonization. They would work a lot with stewarded fire, controlled burns, to help usher in restorative regenerative forces that would keep the landscape healthy. The displacement of the Kashia peoples in this particular landscape is what started the degradation of this forest. So first we had the removal of fire that took out this core ecological driver of ecological health, and then the high grading or the removal of these keystone species that were used, primarily redwood, but also Douglas fir to some extent.
So that 150-year period of colonization and then really aggressive logging led to a forest that was really crowded with species that traditionally would not have been as represented in terms of their density. So what that meant is we went from 600 trees per acre closer to 800 or 900 trees per acre. We went from a landscape that was a little bit more open, more resilient to wildfire shocks and massive storms, to a landscape that was very densely crowded. And so you can imagine that if a wildfire were to move through this landscape, then that wildfire would just consume all of those hyper-densely packed stands and carry on across the landscape in a much faster, much more violent way than it would have traditionally occurred. In 2021, Shelterwood was awarded a Forest Health grant from CALFIRE. Once we had that in place, we were able to start our landscape scale stewardship. And so that had three main activities. The first was going through and thinning out the small, up to 8-inch diameter woody vegetation that was growing throughout the forest. We then piled all that material, let it dry for anywhere from 6 months to a year, and then came in and burned those piles when it was seasonally appropriate. And then step 3, it was going in and doing broadcast burns,
Stewarded burns, controlled burns across the landscape to remove a lot of the smaller debris that had been accumulating over the 150 years that fire was actively excluded. We partnered with Biswell Forestry, which is a cooperative of forest stewards, sawyers, and fire practitioners to help us meet those goals.
Biswell Forestry is a forestry management company based in Cazadero. Our business specializes in manual fuels reduction, introducing fire back to the landscape. We've completed more than 250 acres of prescribed burning at Shelterwood just in 2025. This grant work has given us the opportunity to expand our crew and equipment. We started with just around 6 crew members in a truck, and now we have 3 fire engines to support our work, and we've been able to staff 15 to 20 crew members at a time to implement this project.
So these 3 steps really just embody the first phase of restoration at Shelterwood. The CALFIRE grant has helped us get in the door of clearing out these 100 years of excess vegetation and misalignment in our ecological balance. That's just the beginning of the work. What we now need to do is look a little bit more closely at the species composition, primarily of the overstory across our stands. We'll be removing maybe 3 to 4 trees per acre, enough to bring in more light, free up more water, and create a healthier dynamic between the retained trees. And so what that will do is the trees that are remaining will grow faster, they'll grow larger, they'll end up sequestering and storing more carbon. And on a per acre basis, although we'll remove trees in the beginning, over the 15, 20 years after that, we'll have more carbon stored that is more resilient to shocks within those acres And they will also create better conditions for a lot of the endangered species that we care for here.
like the northern spotted owl and the coho salmon in the creeks, which will have more water available to them.
Vision for Shelterwood is both really small and huge. It's in all the little moments that I hope we're able to continue for generations to come. And my big vision for Shelterwood is that one day in the next 5, 10, 15 years, this 900-acre land collective is one of the smallest in the country. That we are a part of a vibrant, thriving, interconnected community of organizations and land stewards just like this.